How excited are you about this huge game against the Cats?
Yeah, it's always good to get to this stage of the year. Players and coaches alike have been toiling away through the summer months, and whilst we all love the game and love to train and love to get out, sort of kicking the footies or lifting weights and feeling fitter, the main reason we do what we do is so you can go and compete and to play. So we get that opportunity on Friday night to kick this season off, and look, we're all excited as all of the football community is to get the season underway.
Do we expect a new look Collingwood sort of side? Do you think many debutants, that sort of thing?
Look, we'll have some changes to the team that took the field at the end of last year. And change is inevitable, but we still believe that the structure of the side is going to be pretty similar. What we've seen in the JLT is pretty much an indication of where our side will go, and we put the final touches to that over the next 24 hours and release it on tomorrow afternoon.
Given the way his season ended last year, how impressed have you been with Darcy's work ethic and his attitude to get back in the mix?
Yeah, look, he's had a really solid pre-season, and he was clearly would have been frustrated with the way last year went for him, and the disappointment of not being able to put his hand up, being a couple of weeks shy at the pointy end. But that was then. His attitude's been first class. He's really committed to improving himself as a footballer. Getting himself as fit as he possibly can be, and ready to take that next step into the early rounds of the season, which we know are some of the most intense that you'll face.
How much do you quantify how him and Billy, how much they've done over the summer? You said they've just sort of slotted in, but basically done it all.
Yeah, well, they have, and I suppose like any player, we graduate their load, and the conditioning phase is all about not just getting fit, but being able to buffer the demands of the game and stay upright and be able to execute role and play the way you want to play. So both of those boys have been able to do that. They've been in full training pretty much the whole pre-season, and as the intensity has ramped up for the whole squad, then their intensity has ramped up. So there hasn't been any, whilst we treat each of our players as individuals and their individualised programs in some shape or form, they've, for all intents and purposes, been part of the whole group and done what the whole group have done.
Will Jordan to go play for us?
He's fit to go, so there's no reason not to play him.
Stevenson's line look fine?
Yeah, he looked like he ran around all right out there today, and had a really strong first year, and he gets a chance to reinstate himself into his second season, and his focus on the opportunities that he has as they present.
What expectations do you have for Jamie Elliott, given he's had obviously 12 months off?
Oh, look, our expectations for Billy are the same as our expectations for all our players. Come out and play role, and bring the best of your capabilities every moment of the game. So he has missed a bit of footy over the last couple of years, and he can't go back and get that back now. And he's a little bit older, a little bit more wiser, a little bit more mature, and understanding and appreciative of the opportunities that come along. So I think he's well placed to, mentally and emotionally, to be able to handle this next phase of his footy career, and physically he's in great shape.
Coming and playing his role, is his role slightly different now than when he was here? The personnel's changed, him and Geordie have played a lot together, they play in a similar type of position.
Yeah, well, footy's changed as well, mate. It changes every couple of months, really. If you're in season, you'll have 2 or 3 different shades of the way the modern game is played. So if you haven't played a lot of footy in that 2 or 3 year period, he's coming back into a very different looking game of footy, let alone a different Collingwood side. So our roles are pretty, and the way that we want to play is pretty simple. It's basic. It's the players know it really well. And even though Billy wasn't playing last year, he's aware of how we went about our football. So he knows what will be expected of him, whether it's a deeper forward, whether it's a little bit higher. He has the capacity when he reaches absolute full match fitness to play up on the ball at times and to play on the wing. But he'll be a forward line player for us in these early stages, and we want him to bring all his energy and contribute in defence and hit the scoreboard going the other way as well.
Is the goalie got enough fitness at this stage, perhaps, to push him in the midfield at this early stage, or that'll be a thing that just develops over time?
Yeah, we'll consider that. I mean, clearly there'll be moments in every game when we think we might be able to use Geordie in the midfield. But you'd think that early stages he'll play a little bit more of his football forward. And one thing that counts in his favour is that he plays really well fresh. So that was part of the decision as well.
Is it hard to get a gauge on the Cats just with so many changes over the off-season?
I think it's hard to get a gauge on anyone really. It's been a long time since anyone played a game for points. It really does take 3, 4, 5 rounds for the competition to settle, and for us to have an understanding of who the better sides are, let alone where you fit. So we're going in with a really open mind. We know that we've got great respect for the Geelong Footy Club and the way that they go about it. They've got some elite talent in there. The systems are generally really well executed, and they're generally quite forward in their preparation. So we know that this is going to be a really good test of our football early in the year. No, you're right.
Does the success that you had last year make it sort of easier to set up your season in terms that you don't really have to overhaul much your game plan, for example? Yeah,
I suppose that logic would follow, given that we have a belief that the way that we went about it last year is a good starting point, but it's probably not going to be the end point either. We're aware of that. And the other thing that you can't shy away from or you can't hide is that nothing that happened last year is going to assist you going into this year. You've got to set your season up every year, and you've got to jump into it pretty early. So that's our opportunity. We're really clear on how we want to play the game. The opposition have a fair bit of a say in trying to stop that. That's the arm wrestle that you see in football, and one we're looking forward to.
Are you prepared for more scrutiny this year, or does that just come with the territory of being Collingwood?
I think what we've already witnessed is that there's plenty of stories that have been spoken externally about what our motivation may or may not be, and all I could say to that is that that's nice rhetoric, but in the end, for us, we're really focused on what's in front of us. What the challenges we face, the strengths we have in our group, letting that shine, continuing to develop and improve. So the only scrutiny we really feel is the open-mindedness that we bring to our football to try and be better. We want to play, really good, solid football in round 1, and we want to play better footy in round 2, and then better in round 3, and we want to be playing on a whole another level when we get to the end of the year. So that's the way we'd like to set up our season, and that's our best placed plan. So we'll go and chase those.
Brayden Sire didn't play at jail too. Where's he at, and how far away is he from potentially pushing back in?
So he didn't finish the Melbourne game, so we didn't take him to Fremantle, and it pushed him down the rung a little bit for our inside mid spots. He's training well enough, and he's got to put some form together to really stake his claim. But we saw towards the end of last year the type of football he's capable of as a young player. Came in late and really added to our grunt around the ball. Very strong player, very smart player with the ball. So I mean, he's a young bloke and he's got a lot of growth in him, and we've got no doubt that he'll make a strong contribution for us. He was a bit neural, calf and hammy, but it wasn't an injury as such. Just didn't finish that game against Melbourne.
Was there a spot for Levi Greenwood in your midfield against Geelong?
Well, the short answer would be yeah, there is. Whether we pull that trigger or not, we'll all know. We'll all know in the next couple of days. But he's obviously had a good record on Joel, and and some of their battles have been, well scrutinised. He's played mainly down back for us in the pre-season, and he's taken to that role really well. So he's a very important player for us, Levi, because he's got the capacity to impact in multiple roles, and his attitude's been first class, coming off a surgery at the end of last year, and getting his body right over pre-season. He always finishes off strong, so he's fit and ready to go.
Is the 666 thing informing your attitude on when at any stage you do play the taggers or run fancy rules?
When I've got a bit more information, mate, I'll let you know. It's we don't know exactly how that's going to impact tactics or the style of game. We've had an indication with JLT, but as we've all seen in years gone by, the practice games and the early season games are very different. So we'll have a little bit more of an understanding of what our best mix is, how we stack up against the opposition, whether what sort of balance you need from run with players versus attacking players through your midfield, let alone around the rest of the field. So we've got a fair bit to explore and to discover about our own football, and we'll keep an eye on the rest of the competition and see if there's any ideas there as well. Because ultimately you've got to keep beating the opponent to get where you want to get to.
How do you negate Gary Ablett as a, I suppose, more permanent forward? Do you put someone like a Maynard or someone who could get under his skin? Or?
I think many have tried, not many have succeeded. Look, when you look at the Geelong side, they've got a huge amount of talent, especially through their midfield, and Gary's one of those guys that could go into the midfield, and we'd expect him to play mid forward at different times, and we'll have contingencies for both of those. But obviously, a great player doesn't need a lot of space to do a lot of damage. So just another one that we'll have to keep an eye on.
Can you tell us if Jordan Rufford will make a debut in the black and white, or have you seen him slot in?
I can answer the second part of that question. Ruffy's been awesome. He's the character of the bloke, and the way that he's presented since coming in on day one is first class. Really measured, mature, just got his head screwed on right, has been fantastic for the group, not unlike Dunny when he came in a couple of years ago. His aerial attributes have been really strong, so the feedback from our defenders is that they really enjoy having him in that mix because he's so reliable in the air. So he hasn't put a foot wrong, and he should be rewarded as a result.
A couple of injury ones, Bucks. Ben Reid, any time frame on the
Look, he's quite not as bad as we first feared. A little bit more superficial than you would first expect, and he's already running, doing strides. So I'm not sure. Tune in with Walshy to find out how many weeks he is away, mate.
Get one more with you. Nathan Buckley, lower leg.
Yeah, bit calfy. And you would expect him to miss 2 or 3, I would have thought. But young fella who had a really strong pre-season. Always unfortunate to lose someone to soft tissue. And he's frustrated because he wants to play, but he's got a couple more weeks to prepare.
How sad is it to see, I suppose, an iconic AFLW photo shot down by trolls overnight, and I suppose something that should have been celebrated? Yeah,
it's clearly it's a big issue, and I think any time people are disrespected or not celebrated or not given due consideration or concern, whether you've got a profile or whether you're in the general public, I think it stands out. The fact that it happens to someone with a profile, and Taylor in this instance, it just makes it more obvious, and it's clearly unacceptable. How we treat that, and how we bring people to account for bullying behaviour or disrespectful comments, vile comments. That's up to the powers that be, because is it a legal thing? Is it a moral thing? It's definitely a societal issue, but we're all a part of it, and we've all got a role in the solution.
Good man, thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks.